with EcoNexus, which is an environmental research organisation.
Great. Bells. Hell's bells. Anyway, as Suzanne said, the talk's in Durban. Clear failure, third time round. We can't rely on these guys to get us out of anything. We can only rely on them to get us into more trouble. I think that around the world we can see really clearly that people are beginning to suffer very seriously from climate change. I was asked just to mention a couple of things. I was asked to... Is that better? Okay, sorry. Around the world people really are suffering. I mean, in the Horn of Africa we've got hunger and drought. In South America we've got massively increased rainfall and droughts, fires, and we've also got mosquitoes and resultant diseases going up to higher levels, higher altitudes, which is very serious indeed for those people, because before you could escape from those diseases just by going up altitude-wise. Even in Europe, of course, we've seen plenty of evidence of climate instability, massive climate instability, and things like increased storms, the big winds that we had, major heat shocks in 2003, 2011. But the thing is that we mustn't lose hope because of those, because I think that there's an amazing amount that we can do, and I'll come on to some of that in a few minutes. I think that one of the issues that I've worked on for a long time, or tried to work on, it's been very, very difficult actually. You're talking about the hijacking of the economy by the corporations and the banks. And the fact is, it's quite extraordinary to me to see that Rio+20, which is the next big conference, which is also going to be a complete flop and a totally ritual performance by everybody around it. But in 1992 we had some good analysis of corporations. NGOs were producing good, useful analysis and ways of implementing stuff. Now I can't find anything. You've got the group that is the corporations, business and so forth, is on equal terms with farmers, with youth, with women and all the rest of it in the discussions. The only mention in the draft on Rio+20 is that corporations can help us out of the trouble that we're in. So I think we have to see that it's not just the climate debate, but the whole lot of them that are dragging us in the wrong direction. And I think that I would like to say something very briefly about two things that really bother me about the climate discussions. The World Bank, in spite of the failure, the obvious failure in Durban, is determined to continue to push for offsets. Offsets mean that countries like ours, businesses in countries like ours, can avoid reducing their emissions and continue to ask other people in the global south to reduce their emissions on the basis of what might have happened if they weren't being helped to do something different. So you see the whole thing, we continue with this corporate stuff. No reduction of emissions, but offsets. And this is something that we really ought to be much more aware of, I think, because if the World Bank is going to push this on a massive level, the next step they're going to take is to try and get it into agriculture. And whereas I think agriculture is one of the areas which we really have to think about as something that's got enormous hope for us, actually, and great hope for jobs as well, nevertheless agriculture can finally be hijacked to be a great offsetting scene where Australia, New Zealand, the US, the UK and the rest of Europe can bury their emissions and carry on as before. So I think that another thing that I wanted to mention is the issue about biofuels and biomass. I just want to mention that because I've done a lot of work on it, and it is a major problem for people in the global south. If we start trying to go from fossil fuel to biofuels, it will be at the expense of people in Africa, in Asia and in South America, and it can create such incredible devastation. Devastation the like of which we've probably never seen on the face of the land. Monoculture tree plantations, failed jatropha plantations, they're already building up. We've already had corporate failures on this basis, but they intend to continue. And meanwhile, everybody who drives a car, there's probably very few of you here, I certainly don't, but you all have to add biofuels to your petrol. You've got no choice in the matter. We are being pushed in this direction whether we like it or not. We have no choice either in whether we use it or who produces it. And believe me, it really is devastating, all that. But the thing is that you are a huge hope for other people, because if we try to work cooperatively, if we try to put something together as a group of people who are working together like a body that cooperates and tries to find its healthiest possible possibilities, then I think we can make enormous changes. I work with a transition town group. People are stumbling along. They're trying to work out how to do things. They're trying to work out how to grow food. A lot of us don't have the faintest idea. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. But we need... I will round up, yes. We need to think about how we can take control of processes that are basic to us, like education, like food production. And just think of the excitement that can be involved in that. Disappointments, yes, but creativity and cooperation and so forth are going to be major issues. So let's go down that road and say we can take control of this, and we can all